itself. That's what he said. I interviewed both fighters, all right? So I'm looking forward to airing some of that for y'all to hear. Before I get into sports, however, we all know how I started off the show yesterday in the aftermath of conservative pundit and Charlie Kirk being assassinated, shot in the neck, and killed just a couple of days ago. I've said what I had to say in regards to that because obviously all of us need to come together as a society. Just giving you the latest update. The person who is alleged to have shot him has been found. He is a 22-year-old Utah man. He was arrested and connected with the shooting. The man accused of killing Charlie Kirk expressed to family his opposition to the viewpoints of the conservative activist. The authorities said Friday in announcing an arrest in a targeted killing that raised fresh alarms about political violence in the United States of America. His name is Tyler Robinson. He is 22 years old. A 22-year-old has been arrested for cold-blooded murder, shooting Charlie Kirk from 200 yards away. You're 22 years old, and you already know how to shoot 200 yards away. I'll leave it at that. Let me get to some sports stuff right now because transition is going to be a harsh transition, but it needs to happen because, again, this is a sports show. I got to tell you something. Listen, watching the Green Bay Packers last night go up against the Washington Commanders, I will tell you this. The question that we have to ask ourselves now, is it legitimate and fair that the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning defending Super Bowl champions led by Jalen Hurts and the crew, are the favorites, or should we be looking at the Green Bay Packers, who acquired Micah Parsons before the season began in what I deem to be damn near a heist from the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for 2 late first-round picks and a defensive tackle in Kenny Clark? Do you believe that the Green Bay Packers should be the prohibitive favorites out of the NFC to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl? Because I got to tell y'all something. Watching them play over the first 2 games of this season, I will say that we need to look at them a little bit differently. This was a top 5 to top 6 defense in the NFL last year in terms of scoring and in terms of total defense. That much is true. But what we have to recognize is that as we look at them right now, there's speculation that we're looking at the best defense in the National Football League. That's what people are speculating about. We've heard the Giants defense was going to be a little good. We've heard the Houston Texans defense was going to be pretty good. We've heard a few teams raving about how there are expectations for their defense. But the Green Bay Packers, right now with Micah Parsons, with Rashawn Gary and these brothers, I mean, they're doing some things that we don't have a choice but to take notice of. They beat the Lions and they beat the Washington Commanders in the first 2 games of the season in a span of 5 days. 2 offenses that averaged over 28 a game last year. Over 28 a game. They've scored a combined 31 points. A combined 31 points in the first 2 games. They had a total of 9 points through the first 3 quarters against this Packers defense. At some point in time, we got to ask ourselves a question. Is this the best defense in the National Football League? Is it? Yes or no? Because if their defense is as elite as we suspect it is, with those boys hunting and averaging 4 sacks a game and holding opposing running backs to under 50 yards a game and holding total offenses to under 240 yards a game, to have teams averaging 15 points a game against them. This is an elite defense right now. That's how they're looking. That's how they're looking. And if we're looking at it from that standpoint, we got to start asking ourselves, should they be the favorites to come out of the NFC? Last year was last year. Philadelphia had some losses in the offseason, the free agency. But it doesn't mean, could that mean that their defense is a bit touched? And as a result, we shouldn't expect from them what we anticipated and expected from them last year, which would elevate Green Bay in our eyes? I'm looking at Green Bay, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Los Angeles Rams as the top 3 teams in the NFC. Top 3 teams in the NFC. Tampa Bay, you can make an argument that they should be in the mix because Baker Mayfield's been balling and Todd Bowles knows what to do with a defense. Okay, that's fine. You can sit up there and look at Detroit and say it was just one game against Green Bay. That's an aberration. But with two all-purpose wide receivers that accumulated over 1,000 yards last year, with two running backs who did the same, with a tight end like Laporta, with a coach like Dan Campbell, expectations is that Detroit, that was just an aberration. But the bottom line is, it doesn't negate the fact that they got smacked around by Green Bay in the opener. So I'm looking at them right now, and I got some legitimate questions about Green Bay. I'm looking at Jordan Love. Will he evolve into a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League? Have my researchers do some homework. I'm looking at him right now. Through 2 games, he's completed 66% of his passes. He's thrown for 480 yards. He's got 4 touchdowns, not a single interception, and he's averaging 9.1 yards per attempt. By the way, with a passer rating of 120. This is who Jordan Love is. This is what he's bringing to the table. This is all the stuff that's going on. We can't escape this. We cannot escape it. By the way, I'm inside the Wynn Hotel here in Las Vegas, Nevada. People walking by. Some glasses. The studio's encased by glass. It's immaculate. It's beautiful. SiriusXM Studios inside the Wynn Hotel. For everybody that's walking by there, I might have a surprise for y'all. So if you stop by and you're peeking in the window and you're looking at me and you're wondering what surprise may I have for you, all I can tell you is this. It might be a good one. You might want to stick around because I might bring you in studio to give it to you. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. 888 Mad Dog 6 is the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, SiriusXM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Answering these questions about Jordan Love compared to Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels, listen, let me say this. The brother's a stud, only his 2nd year in the league. We all know he can play. But we got to look at the Washington Commanders and recognize the fact that he doesn't have but so much help. Terry McLaurin didn't sign until right before the season began, so he hadn't been working out. It wasn't in football shape before the season began. Then you got Deebo Samuels, who's still a quality NFL player and a hybrid dual threat out of the backfield or at the wide receiver spot, particularly in the slot. You got to look at it from that standpoint and say, okay, you got some weapons, but these are not elite weapons. And if you're the Washington Commanders, I can't look at Daniels and knock him. He only rushed for 17 yards yesterday because you got speed on the opposite side of the ball in Green Bay's defense. That was the 2nd fewest of his career. Washington, by the way, fell to 0-4 when Daniels generates fewer than 25 rushing yards, by the way. 13-2 when he runs for more than 25 yards. Just an aside. But I'm just looking at some of this stuff, and then you lost Austin Eckler. You know, he's got a torn right Achilles. That's how it looks anyway. Undergoing imaging that's scheduled for today for confirmation, by the way. But he's 30 years of age, and he's got a torn right Achilles, it appears. As Washington coach Dan Quinn said about the potential season-ending loss to Eckler, he said that will be significant. He provides a lot of unique things for us. Duh, you're damn right he does. So that's not a good thing. That's not a good feeling. Make no mistake about that. They've got some things to work out. But I'm not going to point the finger at Jayden Daniels. When you got pressure coming your way, because Micah Parsons had 8 pressures, had a half a sack. Green Bay's averaging 4 sacks a game over the first 2 games of this season. They got a whole bunch of dogs coming at you, hunting. There's only but so much Jayden Daniels can do if cats can't get open and you got a rushing attack that's averaging under 3 yards a carry. There's only but so much he can do. He doesn't have any help. So now as we scan the NFC and we look at it, okay, we got to take into account Philly, Green Bay, and the Los Angeles Rams, where Matthew Stafford back looking healthy enough for him to win games against the Houston Texans. We can't ignore Tampa Bay, okay? Then when you look at the NFC East, believe it or not, we can't ignore the Cowboys. Because the Cowboys, even though they lost their first game against the Eagles, we know there's a win coming this Sunday because Dak Prescott doesn't lose to the New York Giants. The last time Dak Prescott lost to the New York Giants was 2016. Ever since then, against them,